Okay, so numero dos of my favorite movies. Now, I got a message from Under the Rock, also known as Underbuck, Red Buck, excuse me, sorry about that, Underbuck, the Red Buck, maybe I'm mispronouncing that. Anyway, he was telling me about how when he first saw Seven Samurai, he really didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else did. Well, I will stress this, okay, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite movies, a favorite film of mine that's a favorite of like the American Film Institute, but a lot of my friends in particular do not like this film, and that film is Citizen Kane, one of my all-time favorites. I think I liked this film after I read a review, somebody wrote about the film. Well, not just a review, and a lot of time that went into, you know, appreciating the film actually helped a lot too. I think, I don't know, maybe knowing the ending kind of ruined it for me. I'm not going to tell you it. You know, I love giving away endings. But anyway, no, the film is great. I highly recommend. So, I mean, maybe you should watch The Seven Samurai again after reading somebody's review and not having these high expectations for it. Maybe that's what kind of ruined it for you. I'm not sure, but that's what ruined Citizen Kane for me. But it wasn't until like a couple, like 10 years or maybe 5 or 7 years later that I actually really enjoyed the film. Loved it for what it was rather than what other people were calling it. And I read reviews and read what was interesting about it. Anyway, so that was one, Citizen Kane. And it's really well filmed. I love the acting. And all I can say is I'm absolutely starving! Now, my next film is a Japanese animated classic. I know it's going to sound very, let's say, cliche, but it has to be My Neighbor Totoro. The Troma version, not the shitty Disney version with bad dubbing. I grew up with bad dubbing, and I'm sorry, I'm not a weeaboo, I don't listen to it only in Japanese. But I mean, it's great for practice, listening it to originally in Japanese. So let's see here. What else? What I like about the film is it brings back great childhood memories. I think that was the first, actually, anime I ever saw was My Neighbor Totoro. And it's a very fantastic and magical little story. And happens to be one of my favorites. And you can see a lot of the sort of surrealism and magical realism in a lot of other my scripts based upon My Neighbor Totoro. So, next one. The Big Lebowski, man. The Big Lebowski. One of my all-time favorites. You know, I think the scene I like best is with Jackie Treehorn. The man treats objects like women, man. I'm telling you. The Big Lebowski was a favorite film of mine, mostly because it was one of the first films that said, you can make a film about a homeless person, and it can be interesting. Or not, I guess he's not homeless in the film, but you can make this sort of really laid-back, low-budget sort of film and still have a really big, deep impact on people and really draw people together in a sort of intricate little film just about bowling. And I think the story is based upon the Big Sleep, so it sort of like has the film noir aspect to it as well. So that's what particularly makes it interesting. Okay, so the next one would have to be Tetsuo. Tetsuo the Iron Man. Anyway, Tetsuo. Tetsuo is one of my favorite films for a number of reasons. Number one, the black and white 16mm stop-motion effects. The stop-motion effects are mind-blowing. It's very David Cronenberg-esque, like very grotesque in a very odd sort of manner. And I love just the simplicity, but yet the sort of the comedy elements mixed in with it. And Oldboy, one of my favorite films, mostly for the cinematography, and it's based upon a manga. As a matter of fact, I have the manga. Hold on a moment. Okay, so, I have the manga here. It's a 8-volume set manga, and it was originally made in Japan, even though it's a Korean film. I think the Korean aspect actually really works well with it, despite how overtly dramatic Korean movies are. But here it works. It really works, and the characters are well developed. The acting is superb. I don't think there is one flaw I really can find in the film for me as a filmmaker. So, next film. Next film would have to be a strange film by Miike Takashi, which is called Visitor Q. A very, very bizarre film. What really Visitor Q did for me was that it sort of made this film that said, you can make a film that is made on digital video, low budget, and still be good, and still be interesting. It doesn't particularly look too amateurish, because every time I saw a digital video, I'm like, oh, this is amateurish, it has no merit, it's nothing. But this film in particular, it captures the magic and the surrealism sort of digital video. And I think David Lynch later recaptured this image, the sort of feeling that digital video, the scary sort of surrealistic quality of it. But I don't think he executed it well enough with Land Empire. But Visitor Q is definitely, I'd say, one of the biggest heavy hitters when it comes to amateur shot films that look actually pretty cool and captures the actual art of the amateur quality. Now, so my next favorite film is a movie called RIKI-OH. A lot of people don't like this film because how absurdly violent it is. Here I have the 12 series manga books from it. What's really strange about the manga versus the books is the manga covers like 4 books worth. I think it's 4 or 3 is the movie, and the rest is something else. I haven't even read these yet, so I can't really say if they're good or not. But I love this film. It's campy, it's hilarious, it's, I don't know, it's out of this world. The characters are funny. I can't even watch the film like in its original language. I have to watch it dubbed. It just makes it 10 times better. The campiness and the violence, it's just so overtly violent. I can't get enough of it. It's another film by Takashi Miike Takashi, is Koroshiya Ichi, or Ichi the Killer. One of my particularly favorite films, because mostly for the character development. What's his name? Tsukumoto Shinya is in it. I like him as a filmmaker. He made Tetsuo. And this is also particularly interesting. I love the characters. The characters are very well developed. Very, very interesting. They're very Japanese in a way. Something I like about it. And I think what sticks with me is just the violence mixed in with, I guess supposedly it really fits Japan, because I feel like Japan is a place where you're never really encouraged to grow up. And in general, it talks about an adolescent boy who has rage problems and who can kill people rather well when he cries and somebody gets raped. Anyway, so moving on to the next film. This next one would have to be Taxi Driver. Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver. Martin Scorsese, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Anyway, one of my favorite all-time films. I think, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino claims this film is also one of his favorites. It's really kind of an existential sort of plot and character development, Robert De Niro. He sort of plays this taxi driver who has really no meaning in life. And in order to make meaning in his life, he has to go kill pimps, pretty much. But it's a very meditative and digestive process that sort of leaves you with this melancholy sort of feeling, but sort of at the same time drastically, not too mellow, but at the same time there's sort of this feeling, this like sort of feeling that was captured in The Searchers. Also, I think Paul Schrader, the writer, got his idea from The Searchers for this film. Sort of these characters who are looking for something. Because in life, let's think about it, we're all looking for something. My next favorite film would have to be, you're going to love this one, Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead is one of my favorite films because it makes fun of zombie films. And some of the lines are very highly quotable. I can't think of how many funny lines are in this film. And it's a serious zombie film. It's really good. The animatronics are interesting. The characters are very campy. And it's a very exciting, invigorating film. I still laugh at some of the jokes. Like the, Frank, we've got a little bit of a problem. And there's other lines. I can't even remember half of them. I should watch the film again. I'm just thinking about it makes me... it's so natsukashi. Okay, ladies and germs, that's all for today. Expect the next 10 in the next episode.
Fasha!